Understanding the appeal of spiritual groups. In the quest for meaning beyond the material world, many find spiritual groups compelling. The allure often lies in the promise of guidance, a sense of belonging, and a path to enlightenment. For those seeking answers to existential questions, these groups can be a sanctuary, offering teachings that resonate with the deepest parts of the soul. The comforting structure and shared beliefs present in such gatherings can present and provide a beacon of hope amid the sea of life's uncertainties. Moreover, spiritual groups often thrive on their ability to foster community and connection. In a world where isolation is becoming commonplace, these groups can be an antidote, filling a void with empathy, understanding, and collectivity. The shared experiences within these circles can foster profound bonds, creating a family-like environment that many people yearn for. The ritual and routine of coming together can instill a profound sense of purpose and peace. Yet it's crucial to approach these communities with discernment. While many groups genuinely aim to uplift and enlighten, not all spiritual circles operate with pure intentions. The path to discovery is fraught with potential pitfalls, such as manipulation or exploitation. Recognizing these risks does not diminish the value of spiritual exploration, but rather empowers individuals to tread wisely, ensuring that their spiritual journey remains positive and enriching. Ultimately, the appeal of spiritual groups is underscored by the innate human desire to connect with something greater than oneself. As the pages of this book unfold, readers will be guided to navigate these landscapes with wisdom and care, empowering them to embrace genuine spirituality while remaining vigilant against any shadows that may linger in the background. In understanding both the light and dark sides of spiritual groups, one can forge a path that is both fulfilling and free. Why people seek spiritual guidance. People are often drawn to spiritual guidance as a way of finding meaning and purpose in their lives. In a world where we're constantly bombarded with information, the search for something deeper becomes a beacon. This quest is as old as humanity itself, driven by a desire to connect with something greater than our immediate experiences. It's a journey to feel anchored in a reality that often seems chaotic and disconnected. The appeal of spiritual groups lies here, offering a sense of belonging and understanding in a community that shares similar aspirations. The reasons for seeking spiritual guidance are as varied as the individuals themselves. Some are searching for answers to existential questions, while others may be looking to heal emotional wounds. The experience can provide solace and clarity, acting as a counterbalance to the struggles of daily life. Spiritual groups promise paths to enlightenment or insight which speak directly to our need for improvement and growth. They're often seen as safe spaces where voices are heard and hearts are understood, providing support in times of doubt and uncertainty. Moreover, spiritual guidance often provides individuals with tools for personal development. Practices such as meditation, reflection, and community discussions are not just spiritual exercises, but also ways to enhance one's mental and emotional well-being. By participating in these practices, individuals can develop a stronger sense of self-awareness, helping them handle life's challenges more effectively. The process of self-discovery can be empowering, fostering a sense of agency and responsibility for one's own spiritual journey. Community plays a significant role too. Many seek spiritual groups to connect with others who are on similar paths. The feeling of being part of a collective striving toward a shared goal can be comforting. Within these communities, people find peer support and accountability, which can help sustain their spiritual practices. This environment encourages sharing and learning from each other, creating bonds that transcend the ordinary confines of daily interactions. Yet, the popularity of spiritual guidance is also fueled by a collective disillusionment with conventional structures like organized religion, science, or materialism. Many feel these systems fall short in addressing the deeper questions of life or fail to offer the personal experience they crave. Spirituality, in contrast, offers a more flexible framework where people feel free to explore and interpret their personal truths without dogmatic constraints. Ultimately, the decision to seek spiritual guidance is deeply personal. It often stems from a longing to reconcile one's inner world with the outer one, to find peace where there's often confusion, and to gain wisdom in a world that sometimes feels unwise. The hope is that through spiritual exploration, individuals will discover pathways that enrich their lives and lead to genuine transformation. The rise of spiritual movements. In recent decades, there's been a significant surge in spiritual movements worldwide. This rise stems from a multitude of factors such as the rapid pace of modern life, increasing societal fragmentation, and a yearning for deeper meaning. People crave connection not just with others, but with something beyond the tangible. In a world where traditional institutions and belief systems often fail to meet the spiritual needs of individuals, these alternative movements offer both solace and community. Spiritual movements captivate by offering an appealing mix of ancient wisdom and modern interpretation. They often draw on deep-rooted traditions like meditation, yoga, or energy healing, yet adapt these practices to resonate with contemporary seekers who are perhaps skeptical of mainstream religious frameworks. The flexibility and adaptability of these movements play a key role in their growth, opening the door to diverse followers from all walks of life. The digital age has played a crucial role in the proliferation of spiritual movements. Platforms like social media and online forums have made it easier than ever to access teachings, connect with like-minded individuals, and participate in virtual gatherings. This accessibility democratizes spiritual knowledge, allowing a plethora of teachings to spread and flourish without the constraints of physical or geographical boundaries. For many, this accessibility is both a blessing and a challenge, as the abundance of information can be overwhelming. Interestingly, these spiritual movements don't all emerge from a place of deliberate intention. Some begin as small groups focused on personal development or community gathering and organically grow into influential movements. They often start with a set of shared goals or values that resonate on a personal level, like promoting inner peace, societal change, or environmental awareness. However, the rise of spiritual movements is not without its pitfalls. As the demand for spiritual fulfillment grows, so too does the risk of encountering teachings that prioritize profit over genuine connection or enlightenment. It's important to remain vigilant, a common theme throughout this book, so that your spiritual journey doesn't become entangled in misguided doctrines or charismatic leadership that threatens personal autonomy and growth. Healthy skepticism and critical thinking are indispensable tools on this path. At their best, spiritual movements can inspire transformation, foster a sense of community, and guide seekers toward greater personal understanding and fulfillment. They can be havens of support and enlightenment where individuals are encouraged to develop their own beliefs and forge a personal path. The power of a spiritual movement can be transformative. For many, it offers healing and a renewed sense of purpose. So what exactly draws individuals to these spiritual movements? For some, it's a quest for answers to life's big questions, while for others, it may be a search for community and belonging. In a world that can feel increasingly disconnected, spiritual movements offer a chance to connect deeply with oneself and others. Through shared rituals, celebrations, and teachings, members often experience a sense of belonging that can be both empowering and comforting. Moving forward, as you delve into the intricacies and sometimes hidden layers within spiritual movements, maintain a spirit of inquiry. Embrace the wisdom offered by these movements, but with a discerning mind. Your journey is personal and unique, deserving of the utmost respect and care. Ultimately, understanding the rise of spiritual movements is about acknowledging the innate human need, purpose, and transformation. While these movements bring the potential for positive change, they also remind us to stay grounded in our personal truths and vigilant against exploitation. Your path is yours to choose, and the possibilities for authenticity and growth are as boundless as your spirit allows. When spirituality turns toxic, it's often said that spirituality is a personal journey. For many, it can be a pathway to discovering inner peace and a sense of purpose. Spirituality offers solace and an escape from the chaos of daily life. Yet not every spiritual experience leads to enlightenment or joy. At times, what begins as a sincere quest for truth and understanding can devolve into a toxic mire, leaving followers disillusioned and drained. Recognizing when spirituality turns toxic requires awareness, introspection, and courage. One of the earliest signs that a spiritual path might be veering into dangerous territory is when it stifles individual thought and freedom. Healthy spirituality encourages questions and personal growth, fostering a sense of empowerment and enlightenment. Toxic spirituality, on the other hand, demands blind adherence to dogma. It creates an atmosphere where questioning is frowned upon, if not outright punished. Leaders of such groups may manipulate teachings to suit their personal agenda, making members feel guilty or fearful for entertaining doubts. The allure of spiritual groups often lies in their promise of belonging to something greater than oneself. The connection to a community can be incredibly powerful, serving as a source of strength and reassurance. Yet this longing for connection can be preyed upon. When spirituality turns toxic, the community's needs and well-being are overshadowed by the desires of its leaders. Individuals may find their identity slipping away as they're expected to conform to rigid ideologies and practices, sidelining their own beliefs and values. Of course, the telling signs of toxicity in a spiritual context aren't always overt. In many cases, spiritual teachings begin to subtly manipulate emotions like fear and guilt. For instance, members might be taught that personal tragedies are manifestations of their own spiritual failings. Such interpretations misplace blame and cause unnecessary emotional turmoil. Victims find themselves trapped in cycles of self-doubt and despair, believing they must strive harder or donate more to attain spiritual redemption. While guidance can be a cornerstone in spiritual growth, toxic spirituality exploits this by creating imbalanced relationships between leaders and followers. Leaders may present themselves as the sole arbiters of truth, demanding unwavering loyalty and devotion. They're often charismatic, using their charm to create a cult of personality. Over time, this dynamic erodes personal autonomy, making it increasingly difficult for an individual to leave even when their intuition screams otherwise. Neutral concepts like karma and energy become tools for control in these settings. They're twisted into narratives that support the hierarchy and suggest that suffering is deserved or necessary for spiritual evolution. Such distortions enable exploitative systems to flourish under the guise of spirituality, leading followers to accept or even welcome negative experiences as lessons instead of questioning the systemic issues that cause them. One of the most insidious aspects of toxic spirituality is its potential to stunt personal growth and healing under the guise of positivity. Spiritual bypassing, the act of using spiritual ideas to avoid facing deep emotional and psychological wounds, is rampant in toxic environments. Captivated by the idea of maintaining positive vibes, individuals may ignore pressing personal issues, believing that staying upbeat will magically dissolve their problems. Breaking free from the grips of a toxic spiritual environment requires not just physical detachment, but also mental and emotional liberation. The process often involves unlearning harmful narratives and reclaiming one's sense of self-worth and personal truth. It's about recognizing that spirituality should empower rather than confine, should connect rather than isolate, and should enlighten rather than obscure. For anyone who suspects they might be entangled in a toxic spiritual situation, the journey to disentanglement begins with trusting one's intuition. It's vital to listen to that inner voice questioning why teachings feel off or when demands for time, money, or obedience become overwhelming. Empowerment comes from realizing that the spiritual path is deeply personal and should be guided by one's own inner wisdom rather than external pressures. Ultimately, when seeking a spiritual path, strive to cultivate a balanced approach that integrates both skepticism and faith. This involves maintaining discernment while remaining open to experiences and lessons. Spiritually nourishing relationships are built on mutual respect, honesty, and the freedom to grow individually. As you navigate your spiritual journey, remember that the power to define and redefine your path lies within you, unchained from toxic influences. Chapter 1. Red Flags in Leadership. The Guru Syndrome. In the search for spiritual growth, many of us find ourselves drawn to charismatic leaders who speak with authority and vision. These individuals often seem to hold the keys to mystical wisdom, unlocking truths that resonate deeply within us. Yet, there's a danger in mythologizing these leaders, creating an aura of infallibility around them. When we elevate someone to the status of a guru, we risk surrendering our discernment, mistaking charisma for credibility. At the core of the guru syndrome is a subtle dance of control and influence. Charismatic leaders have a knack for tapping into our vulnerabilities, drawing us in with the promise of enlightenment or transformation. Their magnetic charm makes it easy to fall under their spell, leading us to overlook warning signs that might suggest their intentions aren't as pure as they seem. The line between leadership and manipulation can blur, leaving us susceptible to exploitation. Recognizing manipulation involves more than just being aware of overt control tactics. Often it's disguised as benevolence wrapped in teachings that ostensibly aim to uplift us. The thin line between guidance and worship is where the guru expects unquestioning devotion, presenting their perspective as the ultimate truth. This can stifle our spiritual growth rather than nurture it, as it conditions us to rely on external validation rather than inner wisdom. Healthy spiritual guidance should empower followers, encouraging them to explore their paths and trust their insights. Conversely, the guru syndrome thrives on dependency, subtly discouraging personal exploration by positioning the leader as the sole source of truth. It's crucial to question, are you being inspired to grow or subtly coerced to conform? The dangers of the guru syndrome stretch beyond personal disillusionment. When a leader leverages their followers' trust for personal gain, it seeds toxicity within the group dynamic. This exploitation can take many forms, including emotional dependency, financial exploitation, or even psychological betrayal. Understanding these red flags enables us to guard against being swept into a harmful environment. Empowerment lies in developing critical faculties that help discern genuine leadership from authoritarianism cloaked in spiritual jargon. A true leader welcomes informed questioning, fosters an environment where everyone feels free to express doubts, and never demands blind obedience. They led by example, not through dogma. As we continue our journey through the landscape of spiritual exploration, mindfulness and discernment serve as our compass, guiding us away from the traps of blind allegiance. By maintaining awareness of the Guru Syndrome's red flags, we cultivate a more resilient faith, rooted in personal empowerment rather than external acclaim. In doing so, we ensure that our path towards enlightenment remains authentic and true to our individual experiences. The dangers of charismatic leaders. It's easy to be drawn in by someone with charisma. They have a way of making their words sing, their messages resonate, and their presence felt. In the realm of spiritual leadership, such charisma can be just as enchanting and potentially misleading. Charismatic leaders possess a certain magnetism, a charm that pulls people in, making them feel seen, heard, and understood. However, beneath this appealing exterior can lie dangers that may not be immediately apparent. At first glance, charismatic leaders appear to be the embodiment of inspiration. They offer solace in uncertain times, assure certainty in complexity, and present themselves as the key to unlocking truth. But this very allure is what can become perilous. Such leaders might start to use their influence not just to encourage personal growth, but to advance their own agendas. When the line between guidance and control blurs, the consequences can be dire for followers seeking genuine spiritual understanding. One of the primary risks associated with charismatic leaders is their ability to leverage their appeal for personal gain. By cloaking their manipulations in spiritual language, they can create a narrative that paints them as almost infallible. Followers often grant them unquestioned authority, trusting them implicitly. This trust can be exploited, leading individuals down a path that serves the leader rather than their own spiritual evolution. It's essential to remain vigilant for signs that the leader's charisma is being used to dominate rather than uplift. When followers are captivated by the aura of a charismatic leader, they might find it difficult to challenge or question decisions. This dynamic fosters an environment where critical thinking is stifled and dissent is discouraged. When a leader's charisma becomes a tool for silencing opposition, the group's values can shift from mutual support to blind allegiance. The genuine connection which initially drew followers can be replaced by dependency and subservience. Consider also how charismatic personalities often cultivate a culture of exclusivity. The leader's magnetic pull can turn spiritual groups into echo chambers where only certain perspectives are valued. This restrictiveness not only limits diverse thought but also hinders personal growth. Followers might find themselves so engrossed in maintaining the status quo that they lose sight of their own beliefs and intuition. It's crucial to remain open to diverse viewpoints and not let one person's charm narrow your spiritual horizon. Furthermore, the focus of devotion can subtly start to shift. While initially followers may have sought spiritual enlightenment, the charismatic leader might, over time, become the focal point of their devotion. This isn't guidance, it's worship. The journey ceases to be about personal spiritual empowerment and instead orbits entirely around the leader's influence. Recognizing this transition is vital to ensuring one's spiritual path stays true to personal truths rather than veering off at the behest of another's influence. The antidote to the dangers posed by charismatic leaders is discernment. Staying attuned to one's intuition and nurturing a healthy dose of skepticism can shield against manipulation. Engaging in open dialogues with others, especially those outside the group, for diverse perspectives can offer clarity and prevent tunnel vision. Remember, true leaders empower others to think for themselves, rather than dictating what to believe. In pursuing a fulfilling spiritual journey, it's imperative to seek leaders who guide with humility and integrity. Such leaders encourage exploration, question their own beliefs, and support the unique journeys of their followers. They are the mentors who understand that the spiritual path is not about elevating a single voice, but about amplifying the voices of many. Recognizing manipulation and control. Understanding manipulation and control is crucial when examining the dynamic between a leader and their followers, especially within spiritual and self-help groups. Charismatic leaders can often blur the lines between genuine guidance and deceptive influence, causing individuals to unwittingly fall into patterns of control. By recognizing these signs, you can navigate your spiritual journey with greater awareness and freedom. And one common element in manipulative leadership is the subtle use of language that both inspires and confines. Leaders may employ emotionally charged narratives, creating a sense of exclusivity and urgency. Though they might claim to possess unique wisdom or enlightenment, placing themselves as indispensable figures on your path. This positioning not only elevates them but also fosters a dependency that can be difficult to break. Recognize that no one person should hold all the keys to your spiritual growth. Another tactic is the conditioning of followers to prioritize the leader's teachings above their own intuition and beliefs. You might hear phrases like, "trust the process," or "only I can guide you to the truth." Such statements have the power to override personal discernment, leading followers to question their own judgments and feelings. It is important to cultivate a sense of trust in your inner guidance system, one that encourages questioning and individual exploration. Manipulative leaders often create an us versus them mentality. They might position the spiritual group as a sanctuary against the perceived chaos or negativity of the outside world. By sowing seeds of distrust towards external influences, followers become more isolated and reliant on the community and, by extension, the leader. This goes hand in hand with demanding loyalty and discouraging relationships with outsiders, which only serves to consolidate their control. Watch for leaders who monopolize time and resources, as these are powerful tools for control. This might manifest as requiring mandatory attendance at events, soliciting large donations, or asking for personal sacrifices that benefit the leader more than the group. Such demands are masked as acts of commitment, yet they serve to increase followers' investment and bind them more tightly to the group. Seek situations where contributions feel balanced and reciprocal. Moreover, these leaders thrive on ambiguity and complexity in their teachings, making their followers feel perpetually inadequate in their understanding or progress. Keeping followers in a state of confusion or inferiority can make the leader indispensable, as individuals feel they need more guidance to unravel the supposed mysteries. A sincere spiritual path should empower your understanding, not constantly obscure it. It is vital to also be wary of leaders who deflect accountability and avoid transparency. They might dismiss concerns as irrelevant or label those who question as negative or unenlightened. A healthy spiritual leader will welcome inquiries and foster an environment of openness where diverse perspectives are acknowledged and respected. Questioning should not only be allowed but encouraged. Creating a narrative that personal growth is dependent on suffering or sacrifice, often for the leader's benefit, can also be a manipulation tactic. By glorifying hardship as the only path to enlightenment, followers may endure unnecessary pain with the belief that it serves a higher purpose. True leadership should support and uplift individuals, recognizing the value of growth through joy and peace. In observing these dynamics, remember the power of your voice and choice. Participation in any spiritual group should feel liberating, expansive, and affirming, not constrained or pressured. Stay alert to promises of quick fixes and declarations of unchallenged authority. These are markers of control that ultimately hinder true spiritual advancement. Your path is uniquely your own, and any guidance you accept should amplify your strengths and clarify your vision. By staying informed and vigilant, you preserve your self-agency and nurture a spiritual journey that feels authentic and true. Recognize when manipulation and control are present and step forward with courage and clarity. The thin line between guidance and worship. In the intricate dance of spirituality, guidance often comes in the form of wise words and gentle nudges. But when does admiration for a leader morph into worship, and where do we draw that line? The guru syndrome denotes this blurred boundary, and it's vital to understand how seemingly benign guidance can slowly transform into blind devotion. This transformation isn't the result of sudden shifts. Rather, it's a gradual process where subtle cues and emotional triggers come into play. To picture this, imagine a leader who initially offers meaningful insights that genuinely resonate with followers. Over time, their teachings become the sole focus, and personal experiences or intuitions of the followers get overshadowed. The risk here is real. When followers replace their internal compass with unyielding dependence on one individual's dictates, they may slip into a state of worship. This doesn't just stifle personal growth, it can also lead to manipulation. What's more, spiritual leaders with charisma often cast an enchanting spell over their followers' emotions. This allure can feel reassuring and profound, imparting a sense of security or even love. But therein lies danger, as worshiping a leader might compel the followers to silence their questioning mind, discouraging critical thinking and personal responsibility. It's crucial to remember that genuine guidance enhances your path rather than defines it. Authentic spiritual leaders encourage exploration, questioning, and personal empowerment. They act as facilitators, guiding you back toward your own heart and intuition, instead of demanding adherence to their worldview. The line blurs when external directives consistently outweigh individual insights. In a community or group setting, this dynamic can escalate. Followers often echo each other's sentiments, reinforcing the perception that a leader's guidance is not only insightful but also infallible. This collective affirmation can make it even harder to discern when veneration turns to worship. Here, the social context amplifies the impact, fostering an environment where dissent can feel like heresy. One way to avoid crossing into worship is to cultivate a habit of introspection. Ask yourself regularly, Is the guidance I'm receiving enhancing my personal journey? And am I encouraged to ask questions? This reflection can be complemented by conversations with others outside your spiritual community. Divergent perspectives can offer valuable insights that break echo chambers and prevent undue influence. Moreover, recognizing personal boundaries plays a pivotal role. Establish clear limits about what you will accept from a leader or group. These lines should align with your values and spiritual goals. A healthy spiritual leader will respect these boundaries and encourage you to explore them, not to cross them or render them obsolete. Ultimately, discerning whether you're receiving guidance or veering toward worship requires honesty and awareness. It involves an ongoing commitment to mindfully assess relationships and influence. Cultivating this discernment not only safeguards your spiritual well-being but also empowers your personal growth. Empowered individuals understand the essence of their spiritual journey is not about external validation, but about an internal journey to self-awareness and enlightenment. They know that the path isn't about looking up to someone with reverence but alongside a guide, as equals on a shared journey of discovery. So as you navigate your spiritual path, remain vigilant and discerning. Protect your autonomy while embracing the wisdom offered by genuine guides. Remember, the goal is to expand your consciousness and evolve your spirit, not to confine yourself to worship of a persona. Through mindful exploration and critical reflection, you possess the power to walk a path that remains truly your own. Chapter 2: Emotional and Psychological Manipulation. In an ideal world, spirituality would be a sanctuary, offering peace and enlightenment. However, it sometimes becomes a ground for emotional and psychological manipulation. This often happens subtly, weaving its way into the minds of those seeking guidance. People who find themselves in such environments may initially feel uplifted, only to later discover they're caught in a web of control that throws a web of dependency. It's crucial to understand how these manipulative practices work to safeguard yourself against them. Manipulation in spiritual groups frequently employs fear and guilt as potent tools to ensure compliance and allegiance. Fear of spiritual repercussions or personal catastrophes often persuades followers to conform to the leader's demands. Guilt compounds this, creating an uneasy emotional state where questioning the doctrine feels like a betrayal. Over time, this toxic cocktail of fear and guilt erodes personal autonomy, leaving individuals feeling powerless and reliant on their spiritual leaders for salvation. Gaslighting is another tactic that can pervade spiritual groups, leaving members questioning their own perceptions and experiences. A leader may dismiss valid concerns or attribute specific feelings to a lack of spiritual insight. This deliberate manipulation of reality can destabilize an individual's sense of self, making them more malleable to the leader's influence. As a result, followers may begin to doubt their memory, judgment, and instincts, effectively tethering their sense of truth to the perspective of the group or its leadership. The cycle of dependency is a common outcome of such environments, keeping individuals tethered to the group for both their psychological and emotional needs. At first, the teachings may resonate with the seekers, offering a sense of belonging and understanding. Yet over time, the manipulative practices create an unhealthy dependency. Followers feel they need to continually participate or engage with the group to maintain their perceived spiritual and personal well-being. Without realizing it, they allow the group or leader to define their growth and value, losing the ability to make independent, authentic decisions. Recognizing these manipulative patterns is the first step toward liberation. With awareness comes the empowerment to challenge and dismantle these toxic deities. It's essential to cultivate a sense of individual worthiness that doesn't depend on external approval or authority. By doing so, you start reclaiming autonomy and detaching from cycles of dependency. Moving forward, strive to develop resilience against these emotionally exploitative tactics. Trusting your inner wisdom can act as a guiding light. By strengthening this connection, you'll find the courage to discern authentic spiritual teachings from those that serve ulterior motives. When you embark on this journey with clear eyes and a fortified spirit, you can navigate the spiritual landscape without the shadows of manipulation clouding your path, using fear and guilt to control followers. In any spiritual journey worth its salt, there's no room for fear and guilt as tools for control. Yet, far too often, these emotions are exploited by those who claim to lead. Recognizing the subtle ways leaders might manipulate with fear and guilt is crucial if one's path is to remain genuine and empowering. Fear can mask itself as guidance, urging you to walk a certain line not out of love or personal growth, but out of the terrifying prospect of failure or rejection. Meanwhile, guilt often dresses itself up as a moral compass, insisting that straying from the group's teaching equates to personal moral failings. It's a heady mix designed to keep followers in a perpetual state of uncertainty and self-doubt. Those who hold power in spiritual communities sometimes wield fear like a double-edged sword, often threatening consequences for those who dare to question or deviate from the prescribed path. For instance, a leader might suggest that leaving the group could lead to misfortune or spiritual downfall. These tactics prey on an innate human vulnerability, the desire for security and belonging. When the psychological terror of exclusion looms, it becomes easier for followers to stay within the bounds set by the leader, even at the cost of their own spiritual or emotional well-being. Guilt, on the other hand, can be insidious. Leaders may paint any dissent or desire for independence as betrayal or moral weakness, though they might say that true believers would never question the teachings, thus equating doubt with spiritual failure. This creates a cycle where followers constantly strive for unattainable perfection, leading to a damaging self-image and a stifling of personal growth. When used in this way, guilt becomes a barrier to authentic spiritism exploration, caging the follower's potential under the weight of imposed shame. Recognizing these mechanisms is the first step to breaking free. It's vital to remember that true spirituality inspires rather than imprisons. A healthy spiritual path invites questions, nurtures personal responsibility, and allows for the transformations that come from inner peace rather than outer threats. If you find that fear and guilt are the primary motivators in your spiritual community, it might be time to evaluate whether they align with your personal values and spiritual goals. Breaking the cycle of manipulation requires courage and dedication. It's about reclaiming personal agency and recognizing that vulnerability should be met with compassion and encouragement, not punishment or ostracization. The journey towards empowerment involves peeling back layers of externally imposed narratives and reconnecting with one's own intuitive wisdom. This inner wisdom can illuminate the path to authentic spiritual growth, free from the burdens of fear and guilt. Remember, spiritual teachings that emphasize control and conformity over personal insight betray the very essence of spirituality. Your spiritual journey deserves to be one of liberation, not intimidation. As you continue to explore and deepen your understanding, hold on to the truth that Spirit moves within each of us, guiding with love and grace rather than fear and guilt. Let this understanding fuel your motivation to engage with teachings that inspire true connection, growth, and freedom. Dive within to reclaim the vibrant, confident essence that's uniquely yours and to which no external entity holds a key. This courageous step toward authenticity can not only bridge a profound self-connection but also affirm the boundless potential for joy and peace on your spiritual path. Always remember, any relationship that hinges on fear and guilt is a relationship of power, not love. Gaslighting in spiritual groups. Spiritual groups can be a source of immense inspiration and growth. However, it's crucial to recognize when empowered guidance morphs into manipulation. One of the most insidious forms of manipulation present in some spiritual communities is gaslighting. This tactic subtly erodes the confidence and trust followers have in their perception, reality, and even their spiritual experiences. When practiced by those in positions of spiritual authority, it can leave individuals questioning their intuition and pushing them closer to dependency on the group. Gaslighting operates in the shadows, making it hard to detect. At its core, it involves the deliberate distortion of reality, leaving individuals doubting their thoughts and feelings. Leaders may dismiss valid concerns or reinterpret events to fit their agenda, convincing followers that their emotional responses are overreactions. For someone navigating their spiritual path, this can be profoundly disorienting. When a leader suggests that misalignment or discomfort stems not from the group's practices, but from a follower's lack of understanding or faith, it cultivates a dangerous environment. One common tactic is to challenge an individual's memory or perception of events. If you've ever heard, "that never happened," or "you're remembering it all wrong," in a context where your recollection was crystal clear, you may have experienced gaslighting. Such statements chip away at your confidence, leading you to second-guess your experiences. Within spiritual groups, this may be cloaked as spiritual doctrine, where leaders claim an elevated perception of reality, suggesting only they truly understand the bigger picture. The impact on followers can be profound and long-lasting. Constant exposure to gaslighting can lead to self-doubt and diminished self-worth. Over time, followers may find themselves relying more heavily on the leader for guidance, unsure of their capacity to make decisions or trust their interpretations. In this way, the leader successfully binds the follower into a cycle of dependency, where seeking approval and validation becomes central to their spiritual journey. Recognizing gaslighting is the first step toward breaking free from its grip. Pay attention to repeated patterns that dismiss personal insights or feelings. Notice when questioning leads to deflection rather than discussion. If you find yourself repeatedly doubting your experiences, it may not be the result of a spiritual challenge, but rather a manipulative tactic employed to maintain control. Empowerment in a spiritual journey involves trusting your inner voice. Genuine spiritual teaching should foster autonomy and encourage personal insights and growth. Healthy spiritual communities welcome questions and embrace diverse viewpoints, enhancing collective understanding rather than stifling it. Remember, your spiritual walk is deeply personal, and no external authority should hold in dominion over your experiences or interpretations. Stand firm in your truth and recognize you have the power to choose your spiritual journey. Safe, empowering environments affirm your individuality and support your growth without diminishing your self-worth. And in realizing this, remember that true spiritual enlightenment comes not from blind adherence to external voices, but through a heartfelt connection with your inner wisdom and the universe. The cycle of dependency. Dependency in spiritual contexts is a subtle, often insidious phenomenon that can entrap seekers on a quest for enlightenment. It begins innocuously as individuals search for meaning, connection, or growth within a spiritual framework. Yet some leaders exploit these vulnerable moments, weaving a web of dependency that can become difficult to escape. They promise knowledge, deliver comfort, and offer community, but the strings attached can be tightly binding. Initially, the enticement is the promise of transformation. Before one realizes it, the dependency begins with subtle manipulation, masked under the guise of teaching or guidance. Leaders may position themselves as indispensable, persuading followers that spiritual growth is unattainable without their continued presence. This seeds a cycle where individuals feel incapable of advancing or even maintaining their spiritual progress without external input, clouding their own innate wisdom. To comprehend this cycle more fully, we must explore the foundational elements that sustain it: inadequacy, validation, and fear. Leaders may exploit a follower's insecurities, reinforcing the notion that they lack what it takes to achieve spirituality on their own. This cultivated sense of inadequacy drives followers to seek constant validation and reassurance, which the leader conveniently provides. The leader's approval subtly becomes the currency of worth, leaving followers trapped in a loop of seeking external acceptance at the expense of the allure. Fear is a powerful binding agent in the dependency cycle. When leaders hint at dire spiritual consequences for disobedience or deviation, they instill a paralyzing fear. The fear of missing the path to enlightenment, of losing one's community, or suffering unknown spiritual repercussions can be deeply immobilizing. Such threats create a powerful grip, magnifying the perceived necessity of continued allegiance to the group. Moreover, this cycle thrives on isolation. Followers are often encouraged to withdraw from external influences that might offer alternative perspectives or challenge the group's beliefs. So by restricting access to the diverse ideas, leaders can maintain tighter control over their followers' realities. The group's ideology becomes the sole lens through which they view the world, reinforcing the leader's teachings as the ultimate truth. With every layer of isolation, the dependency cycle strengthens. Breaking free from such dependency involves profound courage and clarity. It starts with questioning the narratives that have been imposed, those limiting beliefs that insist on the indispensability of external validation. Reflecting on personal experiences and reevaluating the guidance received can rekindle one's inherent sense of wisdom and autonomy. Recognizing that spiritual growth is a deeply personal and empowering journey is a critical aspect of dismantling those chains. Acknowledging fear and exploring its roots is essential. Fear often masks itself as prudence or righteousness, but when examined, it reveals its controlling nature. In this light, it becomes possible to separate genuine spiritual precaution from fear-based manipulation. Empowerment comes from confronting these fears, understanding their origins, and choosing courage over conformity. Support from outside the spiritual circle is crucial when attempting to break the cycle of dependency. Whether through books, new spiritual communities, or trusted friends, external perspectives can illuminate alternatives and offer fresh insights that challenge the enclosed narratives. These influences act as beacons, guiding one back to a path of self-discovery and empowerment. A pivotal step in this process is rediscovering one's voice and intuition. Cultivating these inner resources allows individuals to discern between helpful and harmful teachings. This regained clarity not only disrupts the cycle of dependency, but also strengthens one's path to authentic and autonomous spiritual practice. In the end, breaking the cycle of dependency reveals itself as a return to wholeness. It is a journey of recognizing and reclaiming one's power and truth. By understanding the mechanisms of dependency and choosing to walk away, you give yourself the ultimate gift, the freedom to explore spirituality on your terms, without the shadows of manipulation dictating your path. This liberation inspires others still enmeshed in such cycles, showcasing that true spiritual growth is not tethered to dependency but flourishes in freedom and trust in one's inner guidance. Chapter 3. The abuse of spiritual concepts. In the quest for spiritual growth, individuals often encounter teachings that promise enlightenment, healing, or transformation, but not all teachings come from a place of genuine wisdom. Sometimes they're manipulated to serve a leader's personal agenda. The misuse of spiritual concepts can occur subtly and insidiously, making it crucial to remain vigilant and discerning on this path. It's about recognizing when a teaching has been distorted to instill control rather than connection. The once sacred ideas of karma, energy, and reincarnation often become twisted tools in the hands of those seeking power. You shall hear statements like "it's your karma" used to justify negative circumstances, placing blame on the individual rather than offering support or empathy. Energy might be invoked to demand compliance or loyalty, suggesting that questioning authority disrupts the group's vibe. Reincarnation could be framed in such a way that it traps followers in a cycle of fear and obligation. These abuses not only distort the purity of spiritual teachings, but also exploit the vulnerabilities of sincere seekers. Another common misuse is spiritual bypassing, where genuine life challenges get glossed over with toxic positivity. This occurs when difficult emotions or realities are dismissed with phrases like "just stay positive" or "everything happens for a reason." While optimism is valuable, it shouldn't negate the legitimate need for processing pain or acknowledging injustice. It's crucial to face life struggles with honesty and integrity, rather than mask them with a superficial sheen of positivity. Ultimately, awareness is your greatest ally. By questioning teachings that may seem off or controlling, you protect your spiritual sovereignty. Trust your gut when teachings or practices don't sit right with you. A genuine spiritual path should empower and enlighten, not constrict or manipulate. With the courage to question and the wisdom to discern, you can navigate the spiritual landscape more safely and authentically. Twisting teachings to fit the leader's agenda. It's disconcerting how easily spiritual teachings, intended to uplift and guide, can be twisted to fit the personal agenda of a leader. This distortion is a common issue in many spiritual communities where the allure of power or aberration override. It often starts subtly with small deviations rationalized as new interpretations or deeper insights that only the leader can provide. Before long, these teachings no longer serve the greater good, but instead reinforce the leader's control and influence over the group. Most spiritual teachings promote universal truths and principles aimed at personal growth and understanding. However, when a leader skews these teachings, they might selectively emphasize certain concepts while disregarding others. This creates a skewed worldview. For example, a leader might overplay the idea of karma to suggest that members must endure unjust situations silently, attributing their struggles to past life actions they must accept without question. This practice can discourage critical thinking and self-empowerment, and it nurtures dependency on the leader for spiritual validation. In many cases, this manipulation extends to radical reinterpretations of spiritual lessons, adjusting them to reflect the leader's desires or ideals. Followers might be told that certain teachings are not applicable to the enlightened state the group is supposedly achieving. These tactics are designed to keep members firmly within the folds of the group's narrative. Such manipulation distances them from the core truths that originally attracted them to spirituality. This deviation from authentic spiritual exploration erodes individual autonomy, leaving followers vulnerable to exploitation under the guise of spiritual guidance. It's crucial to maintain a discerning eye. Reflect on whether the teachings align with the original values and principles, and evaluate if they're being used to promote personal growth or enforce unity through rigid conformity. It's often tempting to accept injunctions from a charismatic leader, especially if they promise certainty in a confusing world. Yet the heart of authentic spirituality is exploration and questioning. This means embracing the uncomfortable and not shying away from it, even when tenets are presented by authoritative figures. Leadership in spiritual context should enhance one's understanding, not stifling it. Observing how leaders handle dissent within their ranks offers insights into their true agenda. A leader faithfully committed to spiritual teachings encourages dialogue, open exploration, and diverse perspectives. However, a leader who dismisses or punishes dissent likely prioritizes personal agenda over communal enlightenment. Observe how they react when questioned or how they deal with challenges to their authority reveals much about their intentions. For those seeking to navigate these complex dynamics, cultivating an intrinsic sense of your values and beliefs is invaluable. It acts as a compass amid the swirling narratives presented by others. You're encouraged to trust your experiences and instincts, honoring that inner voice that questions what's presented as truth. Teachers and leaders have their role. They can guide and inspire. But they shouldn't replace one's personal wisdom or impose their version of truth as absolute. Remember, the heart of spirituality is connection to oneself, to each other, and to the larger universe. This connection is strengthened through authentic exploration and not through doctrines twisted to fit personal goals. By being vigilant and questioning teachings that diverge significantly from established truths, one guards against falling prey to exploitation. The aim should always be to embody teachings that uplift and empower, guiding us toward a path that is truly our own. How karma, energy, and reincarnation are misused. Karma, energy, and reincarnation are captivating concepts that embody the complexities of life's continuous cycles and the unseen forces that weave through the fabric of our existence. Unfortunately, they are often misunderstood or misrepresented in spiritual circles. It's crucial that we recognize how these ideas are sometimes twisted to serve ill intentions. Let's start with karma. In its purest form, karma is a law of cause and effect, suggesting that our actions have consequences that shape our future experiences. It's an empowering idea, teaching us responsibility for our choices. However, some leaders use it to blame and shame. The genuine teaching devolves into a tool for manipulation, with victims led to believe they deserve their suffering or misfortunes due to past wrongs. This perspective can incapacitate people, fostering a sense of helplessness rather than empowerment. These misguided teachings infuse fear into spiritual practices. The fear of bad karma acts as a control mechanism, encouraging blind obedience with the hope of escaping negative consequences in some future life. It's a heavy yoke that distracts from the teaching's intended wisdom of mindful living and personal growth. By accepting this manipulated view, the prime opportunity for self-reflection is lost. Energy, too, is a vital element, often co-opted for less than enlightened purposes. At its heart, the concept acknowledges the vibrational resonance that connects all living things. It invites a deeper, harmonious interaction with nature and each other. Yet when twisted by those with an agenda, it becomes something different. Phrases like negative energy or energy vampires are used to isolate or control. Genuine understanding gives way to simplistic interpretations that transform others into threats. In this altered scenario, one may find themselves alienated from their community or detached from valuable relationships, all in the name of cleansing or protecting one's energy field. Such views divide, categorize, and ultimately separate you from authentic experiences and connections. Reincarnation, a concept suggesting that our soul's journey through multiple lifetimes, offers a long view of a spiritual journey. It's beautifully comforting, presenting life as an ever-unfolding story beyond its physical confines. But once misappropriated, reincarnation becomes a carrot on a stick, a means to keep followers in line with promises of a better next life if they adhere to current demands. This distortion shifts focus from present life enrichment to future promises, deflecting accountability and promoting complacency. It's crucial to understand that these manipulations are about control. They transform these concepts from empowering messages into tools that achieve compliance. Recognizing this is the first step toward liberation. Ask yourself, are these teachings encouraging growth, understanding, and connection, or are they fostering fear, division, and dependency? The journey back to authentic understanding involves breaking free from these distortions. It's about reclaiming the original spirit of these teachings. Karma teaches us to live with integrity. Energy asks us to find balance and flow in life. Reincarnation inspires us to learn from every experience, knowing life's exploration doesn't end at the physical. To truly internalize these concepts requires a shift in approach. Embrace karma as a personal accountability partner, an incentive for thoughtful action, and a reminder of our interconnectedness. Consider energy as a tool to enhance empathy and connection rather than a boundary to guard. Let reincarnation be a motivation for compassion, pushing you to engage more fully with your current existence. Understanding these nuances inspires you to challenge misleading narratives. You start questioning imposed beliefs and recognize when teachings are leveraged against you. You become vigilant against those who try to weaponize spirituality for manipulation and gain. Your discernment becomes both shield and sword, slicing through falsehoods and shielding your growing wisdom. Ultimately, knowing these concepts at their core and how they're sometimes misused will help you dismantle toxic teachings. It empowers a more profound, fulfilling spiritual journey rooted not in fear and shame, but in truth and love. The authentic path invites you to live sustainably in the present with the courage and clarity to build a future you truly desire. In a world where spiritual exploitation looms large, your keen awareness is your best ally. It's a personal safeguard, injecting light into shadows and steering you clear of pitfalls. In this transparency, you'll rediscover the true essence of karma, energy, and reincarnation, encompassing them as allies on your journey to genuine enlightenment. Spiritual bypassing, ignoring real problems with positive vibes. In recent times, the concept of positive vibes only has gained popularity. At first glance, it seems like an optimistic mantra, almost a call to arms for a brighter outlook on life. However, beneath the sunny surface lies a potential pitfall that many spiritual seekers unknowingly fall into spiritual bypassing. This phenomenon arises when spiritual concepts are used to avoid rather than address real issues. While keeping things positive can be empowering, it's critical not to let it become a tool that glosses over genuine struggles that need attention. Spiritual bypassing occurs when individuals use spiritual practices or beliefs as a means to dodge facing unresolved emotional issues, psychological wounds, or real-life challenges. Picture this: a friend shares their deep feelings of grief or anxiety, and instead of acknowledging their pain, they're met with phrases like, "Just focus on the good things," or "Everything happens for a reason." Such responses can invalidate someone's experience, leaving them feeling unseen and unheard. In other words, these well-meaning but dismissive remarks unwittingly convey that difficulties should be ignored or denied altogether. This approach can stymie personal growth and perpetuate feelings of isolation. The misuse of spiritual concepts as a bypass often stems from a well-intentioned desire to remain positive in the face of adversity. However, it overlooks an essential truth: real healing involves embracing both the light and the shadow within us. Authentic spiritual growth includes acknowledging pain, learning from it, and integrating our experiences into a deeper understanding of ourselves and the world around us. Avoiding this integral part of the spiritual journey can lead to a superficial understanding of spirituality itself. This isn't to say that maintaining a positive outlook is inherently harmful. The challenge arises when positivity becomes a veil that obscures our reality. When someone is encouraged to suppress or ignore their emotions, they risk becoming disconnected from their authentic selves. Emotional health is not achieved by perpetually looking on the bright side, but by fostering the resilience to confront what is truly happening in our lives. Another facet of spiritual bypassing lies in its impact on personal responsibility. Over-focusing on positive vibes can lead people to minimize their accountability in challenging situations. The assumption is that if something negative happens, perhaps one's vibrations weren't high enough, or they failed to attract the right energies. This line of thinking can cause undue guilt and self-doubt. Instead of seeing struggles as normal parts of life that offer valuable lessons, they may be unfairly linked to personal failures in maintaining positivity. Moreover, an overemphasis on positivity can inadvertently marginalize those who are truly struggling. It can create an environment where negative emotions or experiences are shamed, leading individuals to retreat inward, grappling with their issues privately while maintaining a facade of spiritual well-being. This isolation can be detrimental to one's mental and emotional health, as connection and shared understanding are vital aspects of human healing and growth. To dodge the trap of spiritual bypassing, it's essential to cultivate a mindset rooted in acknowledgement and compassion. This involves recognizing that emotions like sadness, anger, and fear are legitimate and deserve to be expressed and understood. They can provide valuable insights and growth opportunities when faced with openness and courage. Practicing mindfulness and acceptance helps us navigate these complex emotions, rather than dismissing them as mere products of a negative mindset. Embracing a genuinely holistic spiritual path means integrating all aspects of the human experience, including challenges and discomfort. We should aim to use spiritual practices as tools for genuine understanding and healing. This approach encourages a deeper connection to ourselves and others, fostering a supportive community where every emotion is welcomed and valued. Furthermore, exploring these emotions doesn't imply wallowing in negativity or becoming overwhelmed by problems. Instead, it signifies a healthy approach to acknowledging reality while maintaining faith and hope. True spiritual teachings offer guidance and support through life's inevitable ups and downs, enabling us to grow resilient and wise rather than escaping into positivity. By shifting away from the idea of positive vibes only and towards a more integrated spiritual journey, we empower ourselves and others to confront real problems with sincerity and compassion. This shift liberates us from superficial engagements with spirituality and guides us toward genuine self-discovery and growth. In doing so, we deepen our connection with the essence of our spiritual paths, learning to navigate life with grace and authenticity. As you explore your spiritual path, remember that it's okay to feel and express a spectrum of emotions. Allow yourself and those around you the space to experience life's full range of emotions, both the joyous and the challenging. By embracing our complete selves, we open the door to true spiritual enlightenment, one that honors our humanity and nurtures our continuous evolution. In moving past spiritual bypassing, we create a space where real healing can occur, a space where spirituality supports us in facing our life's challenges head-on, grounded in both positivity and awareness. Let's aim for a paradigm that harmonizes unconditional acceptance of life's complexities with a sincere pursuit of love and light. Chapter 4. Monetizing Spirituality. The Business of Faith. In the modern age, where spirituality intertwines with commerce, the landscape of faith has transformed, often blurring the lines between genuine spiritual guidance and profitable enterprise. For many, spiritual pursuits have become synonymous with exclusive memberships and costly retreats. These enticing packages, promising enlightenment and personal growth, might seem irresistible, but it's crucial to discern their true value. Are these offerings a pathway to deeper insights, or are they cleverly masked financial ventures? Some spiritual organizations have transitioned into elaborate businesses capitalizing on the innate human quest for meaning. This transformation is not merely about sustaining a practice, it examines the hidden costs that might accompany one's spiritual journey. Whenever being part of a community requires a constant financial contribution, it's vital to question whether this is a fair exchange or a monetary burden disguised as a spiritual necessity. Ask yourself, is this a meaningful investment in your spiritual growth, or just a diversion from the true essence of spirituality? Another aspect to be wary of is the pay-for-enlightenment models. Often these systems promise accelerated spiritual wisdom for a price, suggesting enlightenment can be bought rather than earned through sincere effort and introspection. It's essential to approach these offers with skepticism. True spiritual growth does not come with a price tag, but through genuine practice, understanding, and personal development. Moreover, spiritual materialism has emerged as a trend where the focus shifts subtly towards acquiring spiritual goods, crystals, workshops, certifications, rather than focusing on the spiritual journey itself. While these items and experiences might enhance one's path, mistaking them for the core of spiritual practice can be misleading. Spirituality should be a tool for cultivating inner peace and wisdom, not merely an avenue for financial gain. Stay mindful of the motives behind spiritual offerings and prioritize practices that align with authentic growth over mere accumulation of spiritual paraphernalia. The hidden costs of spiritual memberships. As alluring as membership in a spiritual group may appear, it's essential to be aware of the hidden costs that often accompany such commitments. Financial entanglements frequently top the list. While participating in spiritual practices might be presented as an enlightened investment in one's personal growth, these memberships can become monetary black holes. Whether it's an initiation fee, recurring donations, or the constant upsell of retreats and exclusive courses, the financial burden can quickly mount, leaving adherents to wonder if enlightenment always comes at such a steep price. But beyond the financial implications, spiritual memberships often come with emotional and psychological tolls. There's the cost of conformity, where members might feel compelled to adopt specific beliefs or behaviors to remain in good standing with the group. This need for acceptance can create an internal conflict, undermining one's authentic self. Over time, the quest for belonging can lead to the suppression of individuality, breeding an environment where questioning the doctrine isn't just discouraged, it might be flatly forbidden. So this groupthink mentality can stifle personal growth instead of nurturing it. Another significant cost is time, a resource often underestimated. Many groups require significant time investment through meetings, workshops, or volunteer work. While these activities might foster community and shared purpose, they can also become demanding obligations that impede on personal time, isolating members from family and friends who remain outside the group's sphere. This isolation can deepen the divide between one's spiritual life and everyday experiences, ultimately leading to a sense of imbalance rather than harmony. Additionally, spiritual memberships might also demand adherence to strict lifestyle changes. While adopting certain habits or disciplines could ostensibly aid in personal development, they can also lead to a sense of restriction if adopted under pressure. This can manifest as dietary restrictions, strict adherence to dress codes, or even adopting new linguistic or behavioral expressions. These expectations might clash with existing cultural practices or personal values, creating an internal struggle that can be distressing and disorienting. Ultimately, understanding these hidden costs empowers individuals to make informed decisions about their spiritual journey. These memberships do offer community support and growth opportunities, yet it's crucial to weigh these benefits against the potential sacrifices. Seeking spirituality shouldn't require compromising one's financial stability, personal autonomy, or emotional well-being. Striking a balance where one can maintain authenticity while exploring spiritual teachings is key. By recognizing these potential costs, you can forge a path that's not only enriching on a spiritual level, but also sustainable and nourishing for the entirety of your being. Why you should be cautious of pay for enlightenment models. In today's world, the commercialization of spiritual teachings is more prevalent than ever. As seekers of deeper understanding, it's crucial to approach pay-for-enlightenment models with caution. These models often promise profound insights and life-changing revelations, but at what price? The allure of instant spiritual gratification can be tempting, yet it often masks a more complex web of financial motivations that can compromise authenticity. It's reason to tread carefully is the proliferation of self-proclaimed gurus who market enlightenment as a commodity. So these figures may exploit genuine spiritual traditions by packaging them in overpriced courses, workshops, or retreats. The issue isn't necessarily the act of charging for services after all. Teachers deserve compensation for their time and knowledge, but rather the extravagant fees and upselling tactics that prey on vulnerable individuals seeking solace or clarity. Moreover, when spiritual teachings are monetized to this extent, there's a risk of diluting their essence. By turning spirituality into a transactional experience, the real wisdom can get lost. The teachings might become watered-down slogans that serve more as marketing hooks than genuine insights. This shift from profound meaning to profit-driven merchandise can leave seekers feeling disconnected and disillusioned. It's important to scrutinize the credentials and intentions of those leading these pay-for-enlightenment models. Authenticity in spiritual guidance often involves a transparent sharing of lineage, philosophy, and intentions. In contrast, models focused on profit might lack liability, leaving followers with half-understood concepts. Without a grounded foundation, these teachings can become hollow affirmations, devoid of practical wisdom. Another layer of caution comes from the risk of inflating the ego of both the provider and the seeker. When spiritual growth is treated as something to be purchased, it can turn into a status symbol, distracting from the true pursuit of understanding. This scenario breeds comparison and competition, which are contrary to the essence of spiritual growth. The journey should foster introspection, not consumerism. So, how can one navigate this minefield of monetized spiritual models? It's essentially about discerning what's genuine and what's not. Proceeding with a mindset of curiosity but not gullibility allows for thoughtful exploration. Look for opportunities where value aligns with commitment rather than cost, where the focus remains on personal growth and shared experience. In seeking true enlightenment, it's useful to remember that no external entity can fulfill what lies innately within. Real growth comes from engaging with teachings that resonate and challenge you genuinely, not just financially. Balance your journey with open inquiry, questioning motives without cynicism, and cherishing personal insight above flashy packaging. Ultimately, spirituality is a deeply personal voyage, one that doesn't need a massive price tag. By approaching pay-for-enlightenment models with cautious wisdom, you empower yourself to find authentic paths that nurture true understanding and connection, untainted by commercial trappings. Spiritual materialism, when the focus shifts to profit. In a world where every moment can be turned into a transaction, it's not surprising that spirituality, too, finds itself tangled in the web of commerce. This collision between sacred teachings and material gain births a complex phenomenon known as spiritual materialism. It's a landscape where genuine spiritual practices are sometimes overshadowed by the quest for profit. At the heart of this, we encounter a shift of focus that veers from enlightenment to earnings, from connection to consumption. Spiritual materialism can slowly erode the very foundation of authentic spiritual experiences. Practitioners and seekers often dive into spirituality with the hope of finding solace, growth, and self-discovery. However, when profiteering takes precedence, the very essence of these practices can be lost. An experience intended to nurture the soul may instead feel like a product, wrapped in glossy marketing but devoid of true substance. The marketplace of spirituality offers an abundance of products, books promising instant enlightenment, retreats guaranteeing life-altering transformations, and even subscription models that claim to deliver enlightenment to your door. On the surface, they could be seen as resources for growth. But when the motive shifts from sharing wisdom to maximizing revenue, the integrity of the offering is brought into question. Consider this: spiritual teachings have long emphasized the importance of inner wealth qualities like compassion and empathy. When these teachings are monetized, there's a risk that the focus shifts to external wealth instead. The danger lies in equating one's spiritual journey with market value, measuring success not by inner peace, but by material gain. This can distort where we place value, shifting our attention from inner development to outward appearances. Therein lies a critical concern. When faith becomes a commodity, the spiritual landscape can become obscured. Authentic teachers may find their voices diluted amidst a cacophony of commercialized noise. For seekers, it becomes harder to discern genuine guidance from a sales pitch disguised as spiritual wisdom. The choice between growth and gains becomes clouded leading many to question the intentions behind teachings presented with a financial slant. To navigate these murky waters, awareness and discernment are crucial. Recognizing the signs of spiritual materialism requires a vigilant mind and an open heart. Ask yourself, is the message empowering your journey, or is it binding you to a repetitive cycle of purchasing the next big spiritual solution? Are you encouraged to seek within, or merely to spend more in pursuit of an external ideal of enlightenment? A poignant example of spiritual materialism is the proliferation of costly workshops and seminars, often branded with the promise of unlocking hidden potential. These gatherings can carry significant fees. While there's value in community learning, the extravagant costs may reflect less on the knowledge shared and more on the pursuit of profit. It's essential to weigh whether the investment aligns with your growth, or if it simply lines the pockets of those who pirates them. Books and courses aren't inherently the problem. It's the shift in focus that demands attention. When teachings become hinged more on exclusivity and less on inclusivity, when the path to enlightenment is limited to those who can afford it, we edge away from spiritual integrity. So, authentic spirituality is a path of opening, inclusion, and exploration, not a ladder of expenditure. How can we safeguard our spiritual journey from the clutches of materialism? It begins with questioning and intuitive listening. Not every offering that has a price tag is devoid of value, but asking the right questions can illuminate the intention behind it. Is the spiritual leader invested in your growth, or are they primarily focused on their own financial goals? This distinction helps cultivate a space where genuine spiritual exploration can flourish. Furthermore, it's vital to cultivate a personal practice that doesn't hinge on acquiring external paraphernalia. Finding value in meditation, reflection, and community not as products, but as experiences can anchor your spiritual journey. Embrace the wisdom within you, for it often holds greater insight than what's marketed from outside. True spirituality thrives on simplicity and accessibility, not complexity and financial exclusivity. So as you navigate your own path, remain grounded in the intentions behind your spiritual pursuits. Remember, the most profound transformations often come from within and aren't dictated by monetary exchanges. Value practices and teachings that encourage personal empowerment and humility, and be wary of those that primarily aim to exploit your spiritual quest. Ultimately, spirituality calls for honesty with oneself and with the sources from which we seek guidance. Authentic spiritual teachings resonate with the core of who we are and need not be shrouded in exorbitant costs. As you walk this path of faith, let your compass be driven by principles that uplift and truth that resonates, ensuring that the journey remains enlightening and free from the bounds of profit-driven motives. Chapter 5. Overcoming toxic conditioning. Embarking on a spiritual journey is often driven by a sincere desire for growth and enlightenment. Yet the path can sometimes lead us into territories where beliefs and practices, initially wholesome, transform into mechanisms of control and manipulation. When this happens, it's crucial to recognize the signs and unravel the threads of toxic conditioning. One of the first steps to overcoming toxic conditioning is learning to identify when you've been misled. It's not always easy to discern, especially when teachings are cloaked in the allure of ancient wisdom and charismatic delivery. You reflect on moments where you felt compelled to dismiss your instincts in favor of what was being taught. Trust was likely twisted in convincing you that doubts stem from personal inadequacies rather than flawed teachings. Start by acknowledging these feelings and understand that questioning is a natural and necessary part of any spiritual journey. Reclaiming your power involves recognizing the inherent wisdom and insight within yourself. Detaching from doctrines that disempower you and instead cultivating your internal compass is vital. Reflect on what initially drew you to spirituality. Was it a sense of peace, curiosity, or the promise of transformation? Reconnect with these motivations outside the framework of toxic influences. Remember that authentic spirituality is meant to empower, not subjugate. Seek teachings and practices that encourage personal growth and self-reliance. Healing after leaving a toxic spiritual group is a deeply personal process, often requiring time, patience, and support from those around you. Understanding that your experience, while unique, is shared by others can be reassuring. Engage with communities or support networks that provide validation and understanding. Allow yourself to grieve what was lost, whether it's time, trust, or relationships dismantled by dogma. Journaling can serve as a therapeutic outlet, helping to organize thoughts and emotions, nurturing your path to healing. In the aftermath, resist the urge to completely shun spirituality. Instead, reimagine what a healthy spiritual path looks like for you. This could mean revisiting traditions with fresh perspectives or exploring entirely new philosophies. Openness to growth is a hallmark of resilience. As you navigate this renewed journey, equip yourself with discernment and critical thinking, essential tools that can guide you toward genuine spiritual fulfillment. Overcoming toxic conditioning ultimately paves the way for authentic spiritual awakening. Embrace the opportunity to strip away layers of misguidance and rediscover your essence. Celebrate the courage it takes to question, challenge, and move beyond restrictive beliefs. This chapter in your life isn't an ending but a profound beginning. Approach it with an open heart, ready to embrace the true vibrancy of spiritual growth untethered by toxicity. How to recognize when you've been misled. Recognizing when you're being misled in a spiritual context requires both awareness and a willingness to question. Often, when we're caught in the midst of toxic conditioning, the signs aren't always clear. Our intuition may send out quiet signals, but these can easily be drowned out by the noise of charismatic leaders or well-structured organizations that appear to have our best interests at heart. The first step to clarity is acknowledging that being misled doesn't reflect a weakness or lack in you. It's a testament to the complexities of human relationships and spiritual exploration. A crucial sign that you're not on the right path is when your spiritual journey feels more like an obligation than a true enlightenment. If you find yourself consistently questioning the teachings you're receiving or the practices you're being asked to follow, that's a red flag. Authentic spirituality should liberate and expand your perspective, not trap you in a rigid system where you're more anxious than enlightened. When teachings are twisted to fit a leader's agenda, particularly when they invoke fear or guilt, it's likely you're being steered off course. Notice how leaders respond when questioned. Do they welcome inquiry, or are they dismissive and defensive? Healthy spiritual guidance encourages curiosity and personal growth. However, a manipulative leader might discourage questions, suggest you're not enlightened enough to understand, or even accuse you of not being committed to the path. This tactic serves to maintain control, keeping followers dependent and unquestioning. Observing these patterns critically can reveal whether the space you're in is truly nourishing your spiritual self. Another indicator of being misled is the presence of gaslighting. If you're feeling confused, doubting your perceptions, or questioning your experiences, manipulation could be at play. In toxic groups, gaslighting is often subtle, woven into the spiritual rhetoric in ways that make it difficult to identify. Statements like "you're too negative" or "you're not spiritually evolved enough to understand this" are common. These deflections not only serve to undermine your intuition, but keep you invested in a narrative that isn't really yours. Pay attention to how spiritual concepts are being used. Are terms like karma and energy being manipulated to justify harmful actions or control over followers? When teachings are weaponized, when they're used to explain why you must endure hardship, without space for personal empowerment or healing, it's a clear sign that something's wrong. This doesn't mean the concepts themselves are invalid, but misused by those with questionable intentions. It's essential to reclaim these ideas, understanding them separated from the distortions imposed by a misleading group. Examine the financial structure of the spiritual group. Are the teachings and resources behind paywalls, or is there a disproportionate emphasis on monetary contributions compared to genuine spiritual growth? Spirituality should never feel like a transaction. If access to enlightenment seems exclusive to those who can pay the most, it might be more about profit than true spiritual advancement. While there's nothing inherently wrong with spiritual leaders earning a living, the focus should remain on mutual growth, not financial gain. Finally, trust your intuition. It's imperative not to dismiss that inner voice even when it's the quietest sound in a room filled with commanding, charismatic voices. Your gut instincts are your most significant ally in discerning truth from facade. If something feels off, it probably is. Your spirituality should resonate with a sense of peace and authenticity, allowing you to connect profoundly with yourself and the world rather than alienating you from your own feelings and experiences. In overcoming toxic conditioning, recognizing when you've been misled is a powerful step in reclaiming your journey. Consider it the beginning of a deeper and more genuine exploration of spirituality, free of smoke and mirrors. Welcome the opportunity to redefine your beliefs based on personal insights rather than dictated constructs. As you grow more confident in distinguishing truth from manipulation, you'll find yourself stepping into an expansive realm of spiritual freedom that celebrates, rather than restricts, individual thought and experience. Reclaiming your power and authentic spirituality. Imagine breaking free from an illusion of spiritual dependency to stand strong in your own truth. This transformation doesn't happen overnight, but it's an empowering journey that leads you back to your authentic spirituality. It's about unraveling layers of toxic conditioning and rediscovering your spiritual essence untouched by manipulation or deceit. Your journey begins with acknowledgement. Recognize the signs of being misled, how deceptive teachings might have veiled your own insights and innate wisdom. Toxic spiritual practices often focus on eroding your sense of self under the guise of enlightenment. When you refuse to give away your power, you step onto the road of reclaiming it. It's critical to understand that spirituality is deeply personal. No one has the right to dictate what your spiritual path should look like. In authentic spirituality, freedom is key: freedom to explore, to question, and to choose beliefs that resonate with you. The spiritual path isn't about losing your way within dogma, it's about finding clarity within yourself. How do we return to our genuine spiritual selves? Start by embracing discernment. Ask questions and examine teachings with a critical eye. Reflect on how practices make you feel. Are you uplifted, empowered, and peaceful, or do they leave you doubtful, anxious, and dependent? Your emotional reactions provide important insights into whether a spiritual path is right for you. Building a relationship with yourself is essential to reclaim your power. Spend time in self-reflection, meditation, or journaling. These practices deepen your connection with your inner voice. Remember, your intuition is your most trustworthy guide, helping you navigate choices and discern truths even amidst confusion and noise. Now, consider the role of boundaries. Healthy boundaries prevent external pressures from overshadowing your personal spiritual truths. They are instrumental in maintaining your spiritual integrity and cultivating relationships that respect and nurture your growth. Authentic spirituality is expansive, allowing for change and growth. It's a dynamic path that supports your evolution over time. Avoid static beliefs that cage your thinking or discourage exploration. Real spiritual power derives from understanding that your spiritual journey is uniquely yours, and that it may not always align with collective dogmas. Being a lifelong learner is essential in sustaining authentic spirituality. Engage with diverse philosophies, spiritual texts, and practices to broaden your perspective. True spiritual insights arrive as you open yourself to new possibilities and study concepts that challenge yet enrich your understanding. Healing is another vital part of reclaiming your power. Healing isn't just mending wounds from past experiences in toxic spirituality, but also involves forgiving yourself and others. Forgiveness releases burdens that hold you back, allowing you to move forward with a lighter, liberated heart. Moreover, cultivate a practice of gratitude. Gratitude aligns you with the abundance of life, fostering a positive mindset that dissipates negativity rooted in past conditioning. Regularly acknowledging what you're thankful for highlights the strengths and lessons learned from difficult experiences. Don't underestimate the value of community. Seek out support systems and spiritual groups that cherish authenticity and mutual respect. Sharing insights and experiences with like-minded individuals amplifies personal growth and affirms that you are not alone in your journey. Motivate yourself to take action. It's easy to become passive in spirituality, especially if previous experiences diminished your trust. Take small steps toward engaging with your spiritual practices regularly. Consistent steps create powerful shifts over time, rebuilding your spiritual confidence and autonomy. As you navigate your way back to an authentic spiritual path, stay inspired by your progress. Change doesn't occur without challenges, but every step forward marks a significant victory. Embrace the ups and downs as parts of a beautiful, transformative process. You are far more empowered than any spiritual leader or doctrine might have previously led you to believe. Remember, your spiritual journey is about you and your truth. You've always had the power within you, it's just a matter of reclaiming it. This expedition of reclaiming your power and authentic spirituality isn't just about taking back what was lost, it's about recognizing that your spiritual path has always been yours to define. Stand tall in your truth, free from the shackles of external control and deeply connected with the essence of who you truly are. The world of spirituality is vast and varied. Embrace it on your own terms. Share, connect, and grow. But always remember to return to the sanctuary of your spirit, the ultimate source of wisdom, strength, and peace. Healing after leaving a toxic spiritual group. When you've extracted yourself from a toxic spiritual group, the road to healing may seem tumultuous and uncertain. It's a path that intertwines relief with grief, freedom with loss. Exiting such an environment is an act of courage, a declaration that you will no longer be tethered by manipulation. Yet the scars of emotional and spiritual exploitation often linger, demanding attention and care to truly heal. It's important to recognize that while the process can be long and complex, it also holds the promise of profound personal transformation. One of the first steps in healing is allowing yourself the space to acknowledge what you've experienced. You've left a world that promised enlightenment but delivered turmoil. It's crucial to validate these feelings. You're not fragile for feeling hurt, nor are you naive for having been drawn in. These experiences are part of your journey, and acknowledging them is an act of power. Begin by journaling your thoughts and feelings. Putting pen to paper can provide clarity, helping you make sense of what you've gone through and where you want to go. Alongside acknowledging the past, it's essential to nurture compassion for yourself. After leaving a toxic spiritual group, self-compassion acts as a soothing balm. There's no need for self-blame or harsh self-judgment. Consider practicing mindfulness or meditation specifically aimed at fostering self-love and forgiveness. These practices can ground you, bringing peace into moments of turmoil and confusion. Remember, your worth is not diminished by past experiences, but rather enriched by the wisdom gained from them. Connection to others plays a pivotal role in the healing journey. Reach out to a therapist, especially one who understands the nuances of spiritual abuse. Professional guidance can offer you tools to rebuild trust and reclaim autonomy. Additionally, finding a support group of individuals who have walked similar paths can provide immense solace and understanding. Sharing your story in a safe environment not only aids in release, but also strengthens your resolve as you witness the courage of others. Moreover, exploring and embracing new, healthier spiritual practices can be deeply healing. This is your opportunity to rediscover what spirituality means to you, free from the influence of toxic teachings or leaders. Perhaps you'll find joy in contemplative practices, nature-based spirituality, or even secular philosophies that align with your personal truths. Whatever path you choose, let it be one that uplifts and affirms your individual spirit. As you navigate this process, setting boundaries becomes an invaluable skill. In the aftermath of spiritual exploitation, you might find it difficult to trust both yourself and others. Establishing clear boundaries protects your newfound sense of self and prevents further manipulation. Whether this involves distancing yourself from former group members or recognizing situations that trigger old patterns, boundaries are essential for maintaining your mental and spiritual health. Integrating critical thinking into your spiritual explorations will further empower you on your healing journey. Cultivate an inquisitive mind that questions teachings and leaders without fear of reprisal. Develop a practice of seeking evidence and relying on your intuition to guide your beliefs. This approach not only shields you from future exploitation, but enriches your understanding of spirituality by allowing you to distinguish personal truths from external manipulation. It's also helpful to reestablish a sense of routine and normalcy in your life. Returning to daily rituals and hobbies that bring you joy can provide a comforting sense of stability. Engage in activities that nurture your body, mind, and soul. Whether it's yoga, painting, or hiking, let these pursuits remind you of your vitality and capacity for joy. This reconnection to everyday pleasures lays a foundation for a life of your own making. Finally, while the road to healing is deeply personal, remember that you're not alone. Many have walked this path and emerged stronger, wiser, and more authentically themselves. Your journey may twist and turn, but with each step you are carving out a future built on integrity, empowerment, and genuine connection. Celebrate your courage and resilience. You are not simply overcoming toxic conditioning, you're evolving into the best version of yourself, a testament to the undeniable strength of the human spirit. Chapter 6. Finding healthy spiritual communities. The search for a nurturing spiritual community can be transformative, offering meaningful connections and a sense of belonging. Yet finding a genuine community that aligns with your values and spiritual goals requires mindful exploration. Over time, you may come across various groups, each promising solace and enlightenment. However, trust in your own inner voice as you navigate these waters. Your intuition is a powerful ally on this journey, and it will guide you to a place where you can thrive and grow. The healthy spiritual communities are defined by their leaders' integrity and humility. Leaders should embody the principles they teach, offering guidance aligned with universal truths, rather than personal agendas. Genuine leaders encourage exploration of diverse paths and support their members' agreement about, even if it leads them out of the group's teachings. This openness signifies a community rooted in authenticity and mutual respect. Establishing boundaries is essential as you traverse your spiritual journey. Boundaries protect your energy and ensure that your journey remains yours alone. A healthy community respects these boundaries, encouraging autonomy and welcoming individuals' diverse perspectives. If a group pressures conformity or dismisses your personal experiences, it may be a sign to reconsider its alignment with your goals. Remember, your spiritual path is unique and it should be nurtured rather than constrained. When deciding on a spiritual community, pay attention to how you feel in their presence. A sense of peace and acceptance is often an indicator of a positive environment. Trust your intuition. It's an inherent compass that signals when something resonates with your core values or when something feels off. Even in a community that feels right, remain open to changes in direction as your own understanding evolves. Observe the group dynamics as well. Members of healthy communities collaborate, uplifting one another and demonstrating genuine care. Look for environments where questions are encouraged and disparate beliefs are respected. The group should foster an environment of learning inclusivity, where each member is seen and valued for their unique journey. You may have encountered teachings that twist spiritual concepts to suit agendas. Perhaps in other chapters of this book, a nurturing community will support your healing from these experiences, promoting authentic spirituality free from manipulation. They celebrate individuality and inspire members to embody spiritual practices in everyday life, cultivating a holistic understanding that contributes to personal and communal growth. In this ongoing journey, embrace the exploration with an open heart and a discerning mind. Not every group will be your forever home, but each will provide lessons and insights that sharpen your discernment and deepen your connection with your authentic self. As you continue, know that the right community will enrich your path, supporting you in carving a spiritual life that's uniquely your own. What genuine spiritual leadership looks like. In seeking healthy spiritual communities, recognizing genuine spiritual leadership becomes crucial. True spiritual leaders aren't about control or ego. They foster an environment of growth, understanding, and authentic connection. Unlike the all-too-common self-proclaimed gurus whose charisma overshadows their integrity, genuine leaders are less concerned with maintaining a facade of availability and more focused on nurturing each individual's spiritual journey. They encourage followers to think critically and to question even the leader's own teachings. At the heart of genuine spiritual leadership is humility. A real leader understands that they don't hold all the answers and openly acknowledges their own ongoing journey of learning and growth. They share their experiences not as absolute truths, but as personal stories, inviting others to interpret wisdom in their own ways. This approach fosters a sense of equality and partnership rather than hierarchy and subservience, helping everyone feel empowered rather than diminished. Authentic leaders inspire trust not through elaborate displays of mystique or power, but through consistency in their words and actions. They practice what they preach, embodying values of kindness, patience, and compassion not only in spiritual settings but in everyday life. This integrity is not something that can be faked over time. Genuine leaders earn respect and loyalty naturally without demanding it. And so noticeable quality of genuine spiritual leaders is their ability to listen deeply. They create safe spaces for individuals to express doubts, fears, and aspirations without fear of judgment or reprisal. This open line of communication allows for personal healing and growth, offering followers the autonomy to forge their spiritual paths. Such leaders don't see questions as threats, but as opportunities for collective insight and discovery. Transparency is another key attribute of true spiritual leadership. Leaders who are genuine are clear about their intentions, teachings, and any financial aspects of the community. They demystify complex spiritual concepts, ensuring that all teachings are accessible and understandable, debunking myths of elite spiritual knowledge accessible only to a chosen few. By doing so, they eradicate the notion of exclusivity, ensuring that spirituality remains inclusive. Additionally, genuine leaders encourage self-empowerment. They guide individuals to trust their intuition and inner wisdom, emphasizing that the ultimate spiritual guidance comes from within. By promoting self-discovery and personal reflection, they help followers build confidence in their unique spiritual experiences. These leaders are facilitators of growth, not gatekeepers of enlightenment, making spirituality a personal journey rather than a prescribed path. Importantly, genuine leaders actively advocate for personal boundaries. They understand and respect the individual's need for balance between the spiritual journey and their day-to-day lives. This respect for boundaries strengthens the trust between leaders and community members, promoting a healthy dynamic where individuals feel safe and valued. Mentorship in a genuine spiritual community isn't about fostering dependence. It's about cultivating independence and resilience. Leaders who encourage followers to explore teachings from various traditions and perspectives demonstrate a commitment to true spiritual growth. Such encouragement helps individuals to develop a well-rounded understanding, preventing the stifling effects of narrow teachings. Ultimately, genuine spiritual leaders embody the balance between guiding and letting go. They recognize the responsibility they have to inspire and enlighten, yet they also embrace the wisdom of stepping back, allowing the natural flow of each person's journey to unfold. This nurturing balance serves as a beacon for those navigating the complexities of modern spirituality, helping individuals discern true guidance from empty promises. In finding a healthy spiritual community, look for leaders who embody these qualities. Their presence will illuminate the path, transforming it into a journey that is both deeply personal and profoundly connected. The wisdom they impart will serve not as shackles but as wings, empowering you to soar on your spiritual journey confidently, freely, and authentically. Building boundaries in your spiritual journey. In the quest for spiritual growth, establishing boundaries can feel like constructing walls that separate you from the vibrant fields of enlightenment. But boundaries aren't about isolation, they're about maintaining clarity and protecting oneself from potential pitfalls. Building boundaries in your spiritual journey is akin to planting a sturdy fence around a flourishing garden you define, where your sacred spaces begin and protect the roots of the root beliefs from external harm. Boundaries are not about shutting people out or dismissing new experiences. They're about understanding and respecting your ratos and comfort zones. In healthy spiritual communities, these boundaries allow for greater authenticity. They help you participate fully without losing your sense of self. When interacting with others on a spiritual path, these personal limits ensure that your journey remains yours, uncontaminated by the expectations and pressures of others. The ability to say no or to step back is a powerful tool in maintaining a healthy balance. Having clear boundaries allows you to question and explore spiritual teachings without fear of manipulation or coercion. It empowers you to recognize when something doesn't align with your personal truth. By being firm in establishing what you will and won't accept, you open yourself to authentic and nurturing experiences. This self-awareness creates a safe space where you can grow and explore without feeling overwhelmed or trapped by external forces. Your spiritual journey is deeply personal, and it's essential to reserve the right to choose what resonates with you. Understand that what's valid and meaningful to one person may not necessarily speak to someone else. Embrace your unique path and accept that it's okay to take your time in exploring spiritual concepts, discarding those that don't contribute positively to your growth. This process isn't about judgment, it's about ensuring that your spiritual experiences genuinely serve you and not someone else's agenda. Developing boundaries doesn't mean you should shut down opposing viewpoints or avoid challenging concepts. Instead, it encourages discernment, allowing you to engage with diverse ideas while staying true to your values. So this discernment is a crucial skill in spiritual communities where teachings can vary widely. You'll often find that the strength of your boundaries correlates with your capacity to explore each of new perspectives, leading to a richer, more nuanced spiritual life. To build these boundaries, start by acknowledging your spiritual and emotional needs. Reflect on previous experiences and identify what made you feel uneasy or invigorated. Use these insights to craft boundaries that shield you from unhelpful influences while allowing nourishing ones to enter. Imagine a flexible yet resilient system similar to a flexible reed that stands firm against the storm but bends gracefully with the breeze. Transparency with yourself and others is also essential. Communicate your boundaries clearly to those around you. Share your limits with a supportive community or a trusted spiritual guide. Discussing your boundaries openly can help prevent misunderstandings and reinforce your right to hold them. When others understand where you stand, it's easier for them to engage with you respectfully and constructively. Moreover, trusting your intuition is integral to this process. Your intuition often acts as the first line of defense when something feels off. Listen to that inner voice that's been with you throughout your journey and holds invaluable wisdom. When faced with spiritual teachings or communities, use your intuition as a compass, guiding you away from potentially harmful entanglements and toward those that encourage genuine growth and understanding. Remember, building boundaries is an evolving practice. As you advance in your spiritual journey, your needs in the external environment might change. It's crucial to revisit and adjust your boundaries from time to time, ensuring they remain relevant to your current situation. This adaptability ensures that your spiritual path stays aligned with your personal growth and aspirations. Ultimately, building boundaries is an act of self-love. It's about choosing yourself and honoring your unique path amidst a sea of diverse spiritual possibilities. With firm, healthy boundaries, you're empowered to explore the spiritual realm with confidence and clarity. You create a protective circle around your spirituality, enabling it to flourish authentically and uninterrupted by external demands. Allow these boundaries to guide and safeguard you on your spiritual journey, knowing that they are not barriers but rather gateways to more profound and genuine spiritual connections. Trusting your intuition in choosing the right group. Finding the right spiritual community isn't just about aligning beliefs, it's about listening to your inner guidance system. Trusting your intuition can be your most powerful tool in identifying a group that truly supports healthy and authentic spiritual growth. But often we are taught to rationalize our choices, analyzing pros and cons as though we're making a business decision. While there's value in critical thought, your heart and intuition speak to you in whispers and gut feelings, and these should not be ignored. Imagine walking into a room filled with new faces at a potential spiritual gathering. You might immediately feel a sense of warmth and welcome, or, contrarily, an inexplicable discomfort nags at you. This initial emotional response is the voice of your intuition, urging you to pay attention. Even when everything looks perfect on paper, if something feels off, it's essential to honor that feeling. Intuition doesn't follow logic, and that's the beauty of it. It is your personal safeguard, an innate compass guiding you through the layered landscape of spiritual possibilities. Intuition is often clouded by external factors, what others expect from us, social pressures, or the enticing charm of the group. Take a moment to still your mind. Whether through meditation or simple quietude, allow yourself the space to listen to what your inner voice is saying. Remember, intuition thrives in silence. It speaks louder when you silence the mental chatter which might be urging you to join based on appearances or the allure of fitting in. An overwhelming sense of peace, or the lack of it, is a significant indicator of whether you are on the right path. There's also the aspect of consistency. How does the community or the leaders make you feel in the long run? Initially, everything may seem appealing, driven by excitement and novelty. However, pay attention to any shift in your gut feeling as you spend more time with the group. If discomfort grows, or if policies and beliefs begin to clash more intensely with your sense of integrity, your intuition is urging a reconsideration. You're equipped with wisdom cultivated through your own unique life experiences, and those should never be discounted. In healthy spiritual communities, authenticity and alignment with your values should naturally develop over time. Leaders and members should resonate with you beyond surface interactions. Your inner wisdom knows that genuine spiritual paths don't demand blind obedience. Instead, they encourage questioning, fostering an environment where you can explore without fear of judgment or punishment. If you sense an openness and lightness of being, you're likely in the presence of a group that values genuine spiritual exploration. Emotionally, intuition often manifests as a gentle tug or a relentless pull. For example, you might feel drawn to a community known for their sense of inclusion and compassion. It's not uncommon to form an instant bond with certain philosophies or principles upon meeting them. This alignment often signals that you're in the right place, as these intuitive nudges are your spirit's way of directing you toward spaces that nourish your growth. However, it's also crucial to recognize when your intuition signals hesitation or doubt. Sometimes fear of missing out or societal pressures can momentarily obscure these intuitive signs. Distinguishing between fear of the unknown and genuine intuition can be challenging, but regular introspection clarifies these feelings. If anything feels forced, or if you constantly justify your participation despite urging a step away, it's more than okay to pause and reassess. And you have every right to prioritize your peace and authenticity over than conforming to expectations. Remember, intuitive decision-making isn't about finding a comfort zone where you're never challenged. Healthy spiritual groups, although supportive, can sometimes push you toward growth. The difference lies in how this growth is facilitated. Does it arise from a place of love and understanding, or is fear a driving motivator? Your intuitive side can tell the difference, guiding you toward communities that align with love and away from those rooted in fear. The journey toward trusting your intuition might take patience and practice, especially in a world filled with noise. Gentle self-reflection and honest self-inquiry can help tune into that internal GPS. Whether you're attending groups or connecting online, repeatedly ask yourself, how do I truly feel here? Recognize patterns in your responses. If you find these interactions consistently filling you with dread or doubt, listen to that inner voice. Your intuition, when trusted and honed, becomes a reliable ally, reminding you that your spiritual path belongs to you. It's uniquely yours to explore, nurture, and embrace. Trust in your journey and allow your intuition to light the way. Chapter 7. The Importance of Discernment and Spirituality. In a world overflowing with spiritual paths and teachings, figuring out what's genuine and what's deceptive can feel like a massive undertaking. No two journeys are the same, and that's precisely what makes your spiritual exploration so personal and profound. But how do you ensure you're not led astray by enticing but ultimately harmful teachings? Discernment is your compass. It is the skill that empowers you to navigate the spiritual maze confidently, ensuring that the guidance you follow aligns with your true self and not some fleeting illusion. Developing this discernment requires nurturing critical thinking skills and learning to see beyond the facade of surface-level inspirations. Critical thinking does not mean being cynical or rejecting everything outright. Instead, it allows you to balance faith with skepticism. This balance is crucial. It keeps you open to new possibilities and experiences while safeguarding you from being gullible. Doubt isn't the enemy, it's a tool for growth, encouraging you to question and explore deeper than you ever thought necessary. Every spiritual teaching must be tested against your own internal truths. Self-empowerment lies at the heart of this discernment. When you trust in your intuition and capacity to evaluate teachings critically, you step into a position of personal authority. This doesn't merely prevent external manipulation, it breeds a space where genuine spiritual growth can flourish. Being empowered, though, doesn't mean shutting out community or external guidance. On the contrary, it means engaging more profoundly and thoughtfully with those whose paths you cross. You'll find that knowing who to trust and when to open your heart to others becomes second nature. This wise discernment is vital in cultivating a supportive spiritual environment that nurtures rather than exploits. The journey of discernment isn't about having all the answers. It's about being courageous enough to confront the uncomfortable questions and patient enough to live with uncertainty. It encourages an exploration that is rewarding and enlightening, one that continuously reconnects you with your own evolving truth. As you strengthen your discernment, remember that this strength arises not from external validations but from your growing confidence in your path. Embrace questioning as part of your spiritual practice. It is through questions that we find our way, after all, underlining the core truth that your spiritual journey is an ever-unfolding exploration. In essence, discernment is about making informed choices that resonate harmoniously with your inner values. This centeredness in your authentic self allows you to be receptive to the expansive array of spiritual wisdom out there, selecting only what aligns with the essence of your soul's journey. It's this discerning mindset that transforms your spiritual path into a robust and joyous adventure, free from the shackles of deception and manipulation. Developing critical thinking skills in your spiritual path. As you journey deeper into spirituality, the path often becomes entwined with both enlightening insights and tempting illusions. It's here, in these moments of clouded clarity, where cultivating critical thinking skills becomes essential. In the landscape of spirituality, not every guide wears the veil of wisdom with humility, and not every teaching shines with the light of truth. Discernment, therefore, becomes your faithful companion, guarding you against the allure of half-truths and leading you toward genuine enlightenment. Critical thinking in a spiritual context starts with curiosity and open-mindedness, attributes that ironically have been mistaken for doubt or skepticism. Yet they're tools that refine your spiritual experience. Imagine gazing at a vast ocean of spiritual teachings. A critical thinker doesn't just dive in without a plan. Instead, they test the waters, observe the tides, and question the currents, ensuring their path is both meaningful and true. It's not about refusing to believe, it's about nurturing a refined belief system that stands strong against the winds of deception. And you might wonder how to develop these critical thinking skills as you navigate your spiritual path. Start by questioning the core teachings presented to you. Ask yourself, who benefits from these teachings? Are they directing my growth or someone else's gain? By peeling back the layers of every lesson, you'll be least likely to be swayed by charisma masquerading as truth. It's a process that sharpens your intuition and strengthens your spiritual resilience. Engage in conversations with others who share a similar quest for truth. Dialogue is a powerful tool that can illuminate different perspectives and reveal the blind spots in your own thinking. Just as iron sharpens iron, so too can respectful debate enhance your discernment and broaden your understanding. As spiritual seekers, you are members of a community interconnected by the pursuit of genuine wisdom. Through collective inquiry, your path becomes more transparent and aligned with your true self. Embrace the challenge of balancing faith with skepticism. Faith is the foundation upon which spirituality finds its footing, but blind faith can lead you astray. A healthy dose of skepticism motivates you to dig deeper, to seek proof where the truth may be obscured by rhetoric. It encourages you not to accept things at face value, but to scrutinize and validate experiences and teachings before internalizing them. Trusting your instincts while also verifying information keeps your spiritual practice authentic and self-directed. Reflect periodically on your spiritual journey. Regular contemplation allows you to assess your spiritual experiences with an objective eye. Consider maintaining a journal to track your thoughts and the evolution of your beliefs. This practice not only aids in personal growth but also helps in recognizing patterns or themes that might be leading you in directions inconsistent with your spiritual intentions. Finally, infuse self-empowerment into your spiritual practice. Recognize that the ultimate authority on your spiritual path is not found in an external guide, but within your inner knowing. By cultivating confidence in your ability to discern truth from illusion, you construct a spiritual journey that honors your personal values and aspirations. This doesn't mean isolating yourself. Rather, it means leading your journey with autonomy, letting personal empowerment illuminate the path over external pressures or expectations. Your spiritual path is not just a journey of the heart, but also a journey of the mind. By developing critical thinking skills, you not only protect yourself from the pitfalls inherent in uncritical acceptance, but also enrich your spiritual experience to unparalleled depths. Critical thinking doesn't dampen your spirituality, it refines it, making your pursuit of truth not just an aspiration but a lived reality. It's about embracing your spirituality with both an open heart and a discerning mind, weaving a tapestry of belief that's both authentic and empowering. Learning to balance faith with skepticism. The dance between faith and skepticism can be delicate but essential when navigating the vast landscape of spirituality. This balance allows us to embrace the unseen and the unknown without losing sight of discernment and personal empowerment. Faith, after all, has the power to inspire and uplift, guiding us through life's uncertainties. Yet skepticism acts like a torch in the dark. It helps us question what we encounter and protects us from taking everything at face value. Historically, both faith and skepticism have played pivotal roles in shaping human thought. Faith encourages us to explore possibilities beyond the tangible, offering hope and a sense of connection. Skepticism, on the other hand, urges us to ask important questions and seek verifiable truths. Each perspective provides insights and strengths that, when harmonized, create a more robust spiritual journey. To ignore one is to risk falling into either blind acceptance or perpetual doubt. For those on a spiritual quest, it's important to recognize how faith and skepticism contribute to the journey. Faith can push us to step beyond our comfort zones and embrace teachings and practices that enrich our lives. Without it, we might miss out on the transformative power of love, compassion, and unity. Meanwhile, skepticism grounds us. It invites us to probe various teachings and weigh them against our own experiences and values. This way, we continuously refine our understanding of what resonates as truth. One practical way to nurture this balance is by fostering a curious mindset. Approaching spiritual concepts with curiosity rather than immediate approval or dismissal opens up space for exploration and learning. We might, for instance, listen to a teacher or read a book with an open heart while mentally noting what feels right and what raises doubts. This approach resembles a scientific method applied to spirituality. Our findings might evolve, and that's perfectly okay. What matters is the ongoing inquiry. To illustrate, consider how you might handle new teachings or rituals. Allow yourself to experience them fully. Immerse in the practice, feel its effects, and listen to your intuition afterward. Do you feel empowered, centered, or more connected? Or is there a sense of unease or disconnect? Trust your internal compass. It's vital to remember that true spiritual insight should never require you to abandon your sense of self or violate your inner knowing. Another vital component of balancing faith and skepticism is maintaining a connection to critical thinking. Developing this skill on a spiritual path doesn't mean withdrawing into analytical cynicism. It's about nurturing the ability to evaluate beliefs and practices against logic and evidence while remaining open to new ideas. It's also about recognizing the role of emotions in decision-making and honoring the wisdom they carry. Faith without discernment can open doors to manipulation, just as unending skepticism can deny us meaningful spiritual experiences. Recognizing this duality provides a sturdy foundation from which we can safely explore different spiritual paths. As you navigate your journey, cultivate relationships with mentors and peers who encourage leaders who challenge your mind as well as your heart. True spiritual growth thrives in an environment where questions and dialogues are welcomed. Learning to balance faith with skepticism isn't just a skill, it's an art. Rid yourself of the notion that you must choose one over the other. They can coexist and enhance your spiritual experience when approached thoughtfully. Trust yourself, stay curious, and remain open to the myriad ways the universe may reveal its truths to you. After all, your path is yours alone. Embrace this delicate balance and you'll find that it adds depth, richness, and authenticity to your spiritual exploration. Ultimately, spirituality is a personal endeavor, and its path can be both enlightening and challenging. By honoring both faith and skepticism, you empower yourself to navigate this path with grace and wisdom, crafting a journey that nurtures the soul and respects the mind. By bringing together these dual forces, you create a personal symphony, a resonance that aligns with the lines at Mars. This alignment then becomes your guiding star, a compass that faithfully leads you to the spiritual wholeness and clarity you seek. Why self-empowerment is key to a healthy spiritual journey. To embark on a meaningful spiritual journey, one must recognize the profound importance of self-empowerment. It's a compass that guides you through the vast sea of spiritual teachings and ideologies. This journey isn't about handing over your power to someone else. Rather, it's about reclaiming your power and learning how to navigate your path with clarity and confidence. Your spiritual journey should be a reflection of your authentic self, not a carbon copy of someone else's vision. This means cultivating discernment and trusting your inner voice. When we're drawn to spiritual communities, we often seek connection, understanding, and hope. These are all noble pursuits, Yet the allure of ready-made answers from charismatic leaders can sometimes cloud our judgment. It's crucial to remember that no matter how enlightened a figure may seem, self-empowerment is what keeps your journey rooted in authenticity. It's your ability to critically assess teachings and ideas, enriching your spiritual path rather than diverting it into blind devotion. This empowers you to participate actively in your spiritual growth, rather than becoming a passive follower. Self-empowerment flourishes when one learns to set boundaries effectively. Boundaries aren't just about keeping negative influences at bay, they're about creating space for your true self to thrive. They allow you to decide what kind of energies you want to nurture within your spiritual practice. This discernment empowers you to walk away from teachings or groups that don't align with your deepest values. It's not about isolating yourself, but rather about being selective about who and what you allow into your spiritual life. In a world where spiritual teachings are often commercialized, it's easy to fall into the trap of thinking that enlightenment can be bought. Real spiritual growth requires investment, but not the kind that drains your wallet. The investment needed is of time, energy, and introspection. Self-empowerment means you're taking ownership of this investment, understanding that true spiritual richness comes from within and cannot be externally purchased. Every moment you spend learning, reflecting, and meditating brings you closer to this rich inner life. There's also an element of courage in self-empowerment. Stepping away from toxic spiritual teachings or groups can be daunting. It's a leap into the unknown where you're left to chart your own course. But this courage is precisely what nurtures resilience and fosters growth. By trusting your intuition and standing firm in your decision-making, you create a solid foundation that can weather any storm. Courage and self-trust feed each other, creating a cycle of empowerment that propels you forward on your journey. An empowered spiritual journey is deeply personal, drawing from your life experiences, questions, and insights. It's about balancing what resonates with you while maintaining a healthy skepticism of what doesn't. This balance is crucial because it prevents you from succumbing to the seductive pull of doctrines that might only offer temporary solutions. Self-empowerment encourages you to explore diverse perspectives while still holding your own truth as the guiding star. Incorporating self-empowerment into your spiritual practice also means becoming comfortable with change and adaptability. As you grow and evolve, so too should your beliefs and understandings. Empowerment isn't static, it's dynamic and transforming. It allows you to shift and expand, to shed beliefs that no longer serve you, and to embrace new ones that do. It's an evolving dance with life, continually refining your path as you learn more about yourself and the universe. Ultimately, self-empowerment isn't about going it alone. Rather, it's about knowing who you are within the context of the world and finding your place in it with grace and balance. Healthy spiritual communities can support this empowerment, acting as mirrors that reflect your inner light back to you, enhancing your journey rather than overshadowing it. Surround yourself with guides and companions that celebrate your capacity to make empowered choices. Remember, the essence of self-empowerment is love for yourself, your journey, and the truths you uncover along the way. It's a commitment to living with integrity and authenticity, honoring the sacredness of your path. By embracing self-empowerment, you become your own guide, listening to the wisdom of your heart, and using your intuition as your compass. Your spiritual journey becomes not just a quest for answers, but a blossoming of the soul, blooming in its own time and at its own pace. Your journey toward true spiritual growth. As you reach the end of this enlightening journey, it's important to remember that true spiritual growth is deeply personal and boundlessly unique. You've explored the pitfalls and challenges that can come with spiritual exploration, navigating through the murky waters of manipulation, commercialization, and disempowerment. Now, the invitation stands before you to embrace a path that resonates authentically with your soul. You get to craft your spiritual journey with the wisdom gleaned from understanding where things can go awry. Embracing your personal path means trusting yourself more than ever. It requires tapping into your intuition and inner wisdom, a process that's both rewarding and liberating. This journey isn't about acquiring more beliefs or adhering to rigid doctrines. It's about discovering a connection that feels right to you. You have the freedom to draw inspiration from a variety of spiritual teachings while maintaining the ability to question and discern. Finding joy in authentic connection is the heart of spiritual exploration. Whether it's forming relationships within a healthy spiritual community or cultivating a deeper relationship with yourself, these genuine connections sustain and uplift you. They provide a source of strength and clarity as you continue to explore what spirituality means to you personally. Finally, as you walk this path, stay aware, informed, and free in your spiritual exploration. Continue developing the critical thinking skills that foster discernment and balance. Trust in your own ability to distinguish between genuine spiritual teachings and those that manipulate. Remember, this journey is not about finding definitive answers, but rather about asking the right questions, embracing uncertainty, and allowing yourself to evolve in a way that feels both empowered and mindful. As you move forward, may your journey be filled with growth, fulfillment, and a profound sense of authenticity. Embracing your personal path. Choosing to embrace your personal path is an integral part of genuine spiritual growth. It allows you to step away from the prescribed formulas and one-size-fits-all solutions that often accompany mainstream teachings. Instead, it invites you to engage more intimately with your own beliefs, values, and intuition. You'll discover a unique trajectory that's deeply aligned with your inner self. This is a journey that encourages you to challenge the status quo and find what truly resonates with you, rather than simply accepting the norms established by others. It's also about empowering yourself to break away from the control and exploitation that can pervade toxic spiritual systems. This step is vital in cultivating a personal philosophy that is untainted by undue influence. Owning your path involves acknowledging the sovereignty you have over your spiritual decisions. This might mean parting ways with teachings and practices that do not sit well with your inner sense of truth, or it might mean seeking out diverse sources that complement your existing beliefs. By embracing your personal path, you enable a transformative shift from dependency on external validation to cultivating self-trust. Embrace curiosity and questioning as tools for growth, rather than signals of doubt or insecurity. This shift empowers you to actively participate in your spiritual evolution, fostering an environment where your personal insights hold as much gravity as any external teachings. The result is a more grounded and balanced approach to spirituality, one that facilitates authentic connections and nurtures genuine joy. This journey requires a balanced dose of courage and vulnerability. It's about daring to be different and standing firm in your truth, even when it diverges from popular opinion. The courage to question teachings and trust your intuition can feel daunting. Yet, it's precisely this process that cultivates genuine well-being and spiritual growth. Additionally, vulnerability is essential, as it allows you to be open to new experiences that can be enriching despite appearing unconventional at first glance, often bypassed in traditional settings. Your personal path is not a solitary venture. There will be times when sharing and interacting with others on similar quests brings immense value. Supportive communities can provide companionship and exchange of ideas, enhancing your journey. However, always maintain discernment and ensure these alliances augment your growth rather than dictate it. Staying informed and open-minded without losing sight of your core beliefs makes this path abundantly rewarding. Ultimately, the joy and liberation derived from following your own spiritual path are unmatched. This isn't about creating divisions or isolating yourself from other perspectives, but rather about fostering an environment of continued learning and self-discovery. It's a journey characterized by ongoing growth, resilience against exploitative practices, and an unwavering commitment to authenticity. In embracing your personal path, you offer yourself the gift of spiritual autonomy, one that supports you in staying alert, informed, and liberated as you explore the vast tapestry of spiritual teachings. The joy of authentic connection. In the vast landscape of spirituality, the quest for authentic connection is like a beacon that guides us toward true growth. When we talk about authenticity, we're not just referring to an honest interaction with others, but with our own selves. Imagine a place where your spirit feels at home, your true self is welcomed, and you can share your innermost thoughts without fear of judgment. That's the essence of an authentic connection. An authentic spiritual journey isn't about escaping reality, it's about embracing it with every beautiful and flawed aspect of who you are. The core of authentic connection lies in recognizing and cherishing the truth. It challenges us to question the assumptions we've carried and to seek out answers with openness, not skepticism. In an age where information is abundant but genuine understanding often remains elusive, discerning what's real becomes even more crucial. But once you find that space where integrity and compassion thrive, it transforms not only your spiritual path but every facet of life. It empowers you to grow without the pressure of fitting into someone else's mold. There's a unique joy that arises from this level of connection, a joy that isn't about constant happiness, but a spectrum of emotions felt deeply and sincerely. Being part of a community or relationship that's founded on authenticity can be unbelievably freeing. Gone are the facades, and in their place is the freedom to just be, to explore the vastness of your spiritual journey with fervor and curiosity. It's like a breath of fresh air, nurturing your soul with the comfort of belonging and the excitement of continual discovery. Relationships based on genuine connection offer a sense of safety. They don't demand perfection but encourage vulnerability, celebrating the beauty in our imperfections. In these spaces, growth is not forced but evolves naturally, fueled by mutual respect and understanding. When you trust your path and those who share it, you open the doors to profound changes, both within yourself and your relationships with others. This trust becomes the bedrock upon which authentic spiritual progress is built, inviting you to explore deeper dimensions of yourself and your connections. Connect authentically, and you'll find it easier to tune into your intuition, that inner compass that guides your steps. When you're connected to both yourself and others in a genuine manner, your decisions come from a place of alignment and truth. This inner clarity makes it easier to navigate the sea of voices and opinions that clamor for your attention. The joy bubbles up when you recognize that beneath the noise, your own voice carries the wisdom of experience and the promise of uncharted possibilities. The journey toward authentic connection might be fraught with challenges, but it's the very pursuit that offers the most profound rewards. It invites you to strip away the layers of pretense and to meet yourself and others at the heart level. Embrace the joy of true connection, and you'll find not just a community or relationship, but a sanctuary where your spirit can flourish and shine in its own light. Authentic connection is a celebration of trust, honesty, and the beautiful diversity of human experience. Staying aware, informed, and free in your spiritual exploration. Navigating your spiritual journey can be an immensely rewarding experience, brimming with opportunities for profound growth and self-discovery. However, in a world where spirituality has both genuine leaders and those who misuse their influence, staying aware and informed becomes not just an option but an imperative. The freedom to explore your spirituality unhindered by manipulation or misdirection is your birthright, and safeguarding it requires a blend of wisdom, vigilance, and an open heart. One of the first steps in maintaining your freedom is understanding that your spiritual path is deeply personal. It's shaped by your experiences, beliefs, and inner guidance. No external source or authority figure should dictate the terms of your spiritual exploration without your consent. By honoring your personal connection with the divine, you create a foundation of self-empowerment. This doesn't mean closing yourself off to new teachings or guidance, but rather embracing them with discernment and a critical mind. Information is the key to informed decision-making. In the age of digital enlightenment, access to a wide range of spiritual information is just a click away. While this can be a treasure trove of insights, it can also be overwhelming and at times misleading. Developing a filter through which you process spiritual content is vital. Trust your intuition to sense what resonates as truth and what feels off. No single book, teacher, or teaching is all the answers. Allow yourself the grace to explore a variety of perspectives, knowing that truth can appear in myriad forms. Guarding against spiritual exploitation also involves recognizing common red flags. Often these are subtle and buried beneath layers of well-crafted narratives. For instance, if you encounter teachings that seem excessively commercialized or focused on profit rather than spiritual growth, it's a sign to dig deeper. Similarly, teachings that use fear as a tool for control rather than as an opportunity for empowerment should warrant. Remember, true spiritual guidance should reduce fear, not amplify it. Maintaining autonomy in your spiritual exploration means cultivating a community that supports not just learning but also questioning. Surround yourself with others who value genuine spiritual inquiry and who uplift rather than dictate. Healthy spiritual communities foster dialogue and celebrate differences rather than mythicize a single leader or viewpoint. By engaging with diverse communities, you're more likely to encounter a range of experiences and ideas that enhance your journey rather than restrict it. Additionally, it's crucial to balance openness with skepticism in spiritual matters. This doesn't mean leaning into cynicism, but rather adopting a stance of healthy curiosity. Ask questions, seek clarification, and don't shy away from confronting uncomfortable truths. Your spiritual journey should feel liberating and expansive, not constrained by dogma or authoritarian rule. By developing critical thinking skills, you foster a resilient spirit that can navigate spiritual teachings with confidence and grace. Ultimately, the quest for spiritual freedom isn't about rejecting all forms of guidance or community. It's about ensuring that your path remains authentically yours. Embrace teachings and leaders that encourage personal autonomy, exploration, and growth. Celebrate the spiritual experiences that resonate with you and contribute positively to your understanding of self and the universe. By staying aware and informed, you'll naturally gravitate towards experiences that enrich your journey, freeing you from the confines of toxic doctrines and false prophets. As you continue on this path, remember to stay rooted in your core values and beliefs. Allow yourself the flexibility to evolve and adapt without losing sight of what genuinely matters to you. Through staying aware and informed, you gift yourself the freedom to truly explore the depths of your spirituality, empowered by truth and guided by love.